Hello, I've realized that in the last 1 year, I just made one Suqqu purchase. That is the single that I recently purchased from Cult Beauty and is the new Suqqu single, and I picked the limited edition S101. And I'm kind of disappointed. First of all, the color, I expected a green. Now, if you know me, you know that I was obsessed by the sage green color lately. It's a color that I find very classy, and I expected this eyeshadow by Suqqu to be that color that I had in my mind. And I think the best implementation of that color that I have in my mind is in the newish Dior palette that at this point, after this fail, I think I'm gonna buy, because I tried to dupe that palette because of that color in this video here. But I thought that this Suqqu eyeshadow was the Suqqu equivalent of that Dior color, but it isn't. Let's see here, I will show you. So on the brush, I'm picking one of my favorite one and done brushes, that is the 02 Max by Refer. It is grayish on the brush, but it's a plain silvery eyeshadow on my eyes. I'm quite tanned now, so it's even whiter than it can be when I'm at my fairest color. So I will put it here. And yeah, when it comes to Suqqu, I usually use brushes because I don't like to touch Suqqu eyeshadows. They are very delicate and I don't want to develop art pan. So this is the color. The reality is that on my skin tone, it translates as a silver almost. So I don't see the green part. And that is kind of disappointment. With the lighter color, there's always this risk that the color ended up to be very light and almost a white or a silver. So finding the exact mid-tone that translates has the color that you have in your mind, but at the same time not having it too dark is very tricky. So yeah, in this case was a failure. When you can't swatch them in person, and that is my case, for example, here, the risk is always there. I think I will put this on sale on my Vinted. So check my Vinted link that I leave in my description box, because I'm not satisfied. I don't think I will use it. It's kind of redundant in my collection, but since we are here, I would like to compare it with the old formula by Suqqu singles, the Suqqu Satin. So these singles have been released in different finishes. They are made in Japan. They have the typical slurry Japanese formula, a bit more on the powdery side, but it's something that I like very much because it helps with the blendability. And the satin finish is one of my favorites because it's very refined. I think it's very elegant, not over the top. This is the satin one, and I had a satin one in the past. And this, I remember I purchased from Selfridges, so it was before 2021 when Brexit was applied towards Europe. I don't know the name anymore, but I think it was number 6 and it was in the same satin formula. And this is depotted, and the case was similar to this one. So I have two singles from Suqqu. This was a satin, so the equivalent one of this, and it's something that I would like to compare. So I have another Refer 02 Max. So it's still a gray one. Let me compare it. So this is more on the taupish side with a more prominent golden sheen. And the golden sheen is something that I have noticed also in this one. What to say about this? When these were released, the eyeshadows from Suqqu were still the previous version in the quads. So the quads were the designing colorized. That is my favorite Suqqu formula because they had a glow that it has disappeared in a newer signature colorized range of the Suqqu quads. But if I compare the two, I cannot tell, to be honest, a huge difference. I like this Suqqu satin, the old Suqqu satin, very much. I may go with a side by side on my eyes to tell you if I detect anything different. This I will use my fingers because it's a luster. This was number 12 in the old line of Suqqu singles, and this is the luster formula that is present also this time and is the typical, Asian trend of very glittery eyeshadows. And I pick it for curiosity, but it's not my favorite. I mean, I don't like such of an impact on the eyeshadows, and if I do, I prefer the Argelé formula. But yeah, it comes to personal preference. So yeah, I think that I'm gonna do the side-by-side comparison on my eyes. So let's see together my impressions about the formula once applied on my eyes. So here we are. I start with the new eyeshadow using the same Refer brush 02 Max. And let's see. I don't know. When you only have one eyeshadow, it's very difficult to judge a formula from one color, to be honest. What I'm noticing is that I see this shade to be heavily metallic. There's kind of a metallic sheen that unfortunately makes my eyes a bit crusty. I see, texture on my eyes. And yeah, this did not happen in the past. That's why Suqqu was my favorite formula. And I have a video about shimmers that I need to update with other formulas. I'm just waiting for other eyeshadows to be added to my collection, the new Barredo one and others, and then I will make a second version of that video. But this, unfortunately, I don't like it how it looks. For my aged eyes, I don't like it. I see a bump here. The real observation is makeup shouldn't be aging. I should look better with an eyeshadow on instead of nothing. And if this doesn't happen, that if I like my eyes without eyeshadows, what's the purpose of this? I just want to look prettier and better and younger with an eyeshadow on. And this is not the case. So for me, this is a fail simply for this reason. Let me switch my eye and let's demo the old Satin one. It may be because this is darker, but I like it more. And the glitter here is doing more of a scattered light, scattered particles, instead of more metallic shine. They want to get here the smooth metallic, but I don't like on my eyes. I like the old version better. I like this old version better. What do you think? So with the old version, it's definitely a veil of color, and with the new version, I feel there's more pigmentation, and I don't know, it has become more standard in my opinion. So my conclusion is, is kind of a regret. Sometimes it happens even with my favorite brands like Suqqu. And the other conclusion is that lighter shades are tricky. Sometimes you think there's one color, but is another one. So if you're interested, check my Vinted and see you in my next video. Bye!